Yes. Knock, knock.
This looks like the place. You ready to get my money or what?
Welcome to the offices of the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group, Halcyon's premier provider of life and disaster-related insurance. I'm obligated to inform you that our coverage does not extend to incidents deemed to result from negligence, criminal activity, or dullness of mind. Some people, but no one in this office, I assure you, might call it stupidity.
It's like they say, there's no cure for that.
So, what kind of insurance package can I interest you in? We're running a special on dismemberment policies. Buy one, get one half off. We're not on Monarch. For all practical and tax-related purposes, this office is an official enclave of Byzantium. Oh, it's certainly not about what I say. That's all down to our legal team and our CFO. Plenty. As my boss likes to say, there's a policy for every situation and an exclusion for every policy. We've insured unusually expressive eyebrows, outrageous statements, disastrous marriages. Those are mostly for top-rungers in Byzantium who have a lot of social and financial capital wrapped up in their marriage contracts. There's one for your beloved eloping with your sibling, your beloved eloping with their sibling, scandalous rumors forcing you apart, the revelation of a secret love child. We try to cover every possible hazard to domestic bliss. Usually character actors, or corporate execs with menacing stares. That policy is almost exclusively for our corporate clientele. In the unlikely event they make a claim about a product that turns out to be less than accurate, they need some kind of protection against the damage to their sales and reputation. One thing's for sure, you won't find better policy protection against sudden lunar implosions anywhere in Halcyon. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one.
Are you serious?
Well, we interviewed the parents extensively. They had plenty of awkward childhood stories that illustrated their daughter's clumsiness and capriciousness.
Hey, those are entirely made up.
Furthermore, the claim spurred a whole line of fashion-related policies. It's become a very lucrative market. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Of course she is. The paperwork says so.
I like to think she's dead in spirit, but technically, legally, and regretfully, I'm still Marilyn Fenhill.
That's impossible. By all accounts, she was an elegant and classy woman with impossibly fine bone structure. That couldn't possibly be you.
That's gotta be the nicest thing anyone's said to me in a long while.
Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity.
Captain, got a minute? You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. I've never been prouder to stand back and watch someone else work. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Yeah. The funny thing about getting what you want is then you gotta figure out what to do with it. I've never been much of a planner. Makes my eyeballs itch. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you can't even count on a bribe making it into the right pocket. What's the point of planning for anything around here? Hate to say it, but Halcyon's already there. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? You sure? Because my kind of friends will pick your pocket clean while they're getting hammered with you. You don't have to get all mushy about it. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day, they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. It's nothing personal. It's just the closest thing I've got to a code. Anyway, enough of the touchy-feelies, huh? Ah, this factory offers the loveliest aromas. Like if you cook borscht over a sulfur pit.
Processing. Beginning security patrol.
Take your best shot. That's the last of them. They got the drop on us. They're on us.
Whoa now. And just what do you figure you're doing up here? These are my private quarters, friend. I don't allow tours up here. I don't allow tours ever on deeper consideration. Certain things require a mess to do well. See, I was just killing some time. I prefer to prepare my dinner by my own hand. Nothing like fresh and bloody Borstwurst. I do own a factory known for specializing in the canning of Borstwurst. On occasion, I like to imbibe other parts of the cysty pig. Did you fancy me a cannibal? Perish the thought. No, I don't eat the bodies, I disappear. A joke, that last was. So, what can I do for you? My full attention is at your disposal.
I'm not saying you shouldn't vex this guy, but if you do, it's been nice knowing you.
While I approve of your associate's cautious nature, I still teeter on the verge of losing my patience. Let us move forward with the present proceedings. By sublight, you mean Catherine, do you not? That greedy, star-crossed sow. Listen, friend. The Borst King of Monarch does not negotiate with coveters. How about you bring me Catherine's severed head, and I will gift you a lifetime supply of Borst. You desire that I should lower myself to Catherine's level of crassness and filth? I cannot fathom how that would cotton myself. The king built this golden monopoly brick by brick from the rubble when the corpse abandoned Monarch. No, he ain't the sort to partner up, as that requires the sharing of power and profits. You think to blackmail me? Try it. The king will grind you to bone spurs and toenails. For true? You figure she will appreciate my skills? They did take me years to perfect. However, I remain unconvinced she could provide the means to make the association worth my while. If you ain't noticed, I'm doing swell, ruling this kingdom on my own. Ah, but Catherine would admire a man of my inclinations and skill. That is what you imply, yes? She will supply the worship I so rightly deserve. Very well. The king is interested. John Hancock me on the dotted line, friend. I will even give her a cut of the profits, requiring she keeps clear of my short hairs. Do not push me. I am not one to suffer insults. Tell Catherine she is permitted to dump the bodies each and every Tuesday, precisely at 3 a.m.
No, but thank you. I'm quite alright as I am. Oh, you're still here. I said I don't require anything at this time. Run along now. I've had more than enough to satisfy my thirst for one evening. Deal? A rather bad one indeed. The fella swore Fallbrook was unrivaled in its leisurely pursuits. But it seems to me the whole town is designed primarily to leech one's bits. And now that I've run dry, or nearly so, the fellas have abandoned me back to Byzantium. You wouldn't leave a friend in need, I'm sure. Don't suppose I could just ask you to scram.
You seen Arthur today?
Now there's a woman who knows what she wants. I like her.
She's fine. Well, so long as you ain't on her bad side. Then she's liable to drown you in the waterfall.
How's Clive? I do hope you gave him my regards. Oh, this ought to be good. What does he mean to offer in exchange for his no-account life? True enough, I got bodies piling up, drawing attention where they ought not to be. But if I take the factory, I don't need Clive to dispense of my messes. Can appoint someone to handle it myself. Point taken. Good help is hard to come by. Plus, Clive doesn't seem the type to upchuck his boards during dismemberment. Still, you're asking me to walk away from easy money. So are a lot of things in life. And your point is? All right. Color me convinced. Reckon I owe you a finder's fee. Don't spend it all in one place. Unless it's here. I'll presume you mean Arthur. The one you sent scurrying back like a sprat with his tail cut off? Reckon I'm happy he's alive. I'd be happier if the marauders who botched my drop were dead. I take it you don't have a reservation. No matter. I keep a suite of VIP rooms for visitors of your, let's call it, a certain means. The VIP rooms charge by the night. But for you, I'll make it a one-time fee. Got a feeling you'll make me a fine investment. Marvelous. Do take care of the place. Maid service won't clean after a murder.
Crew report. Bioka is drunk. Surprise. We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
I don't know who you are or why you're prowling around here, but I'm willing to make a guess. You're one of Harlow's gun hands, ain't you? He sent you after me. Former wife. And if you so much as hurt a hair on Rosanna's head, I will put you in the ground. Yeah, okay. I'm having a conversation with a hired killer, but I'm supposed to relax. Thing is, you and I are at an impasse. Harlow wants me dead, and I've got no intention of dying. Harlow wants my ring? Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. A ring's a lot easier to lose than a hand. How do I know that I can trust you? Yeah, guess that's a fair point. Listen, I don't know what lies Harlow's dripped down your ear, but you'd be a fool to trust him. I never betrayed Harlow. Harlow betrayed all of us. The board's got him in their pocket, been paying him off for years. All that palaver about revolutions? It's a lie.
You can't be serious. I've known the guy for years.
Yeah, that's about how I reacted when I found out. That's the whole truth. Harlow's just another board asset. A two-bit mercenary wearing a dissident's clothes. Say your piece. Because he's for sale. Anything the board can buy, the board will buy. And that includes loyalty. Harlow was a charismatic bastard, and he was ruthless. With Harlow in their pocket, the board had an informant, a pirate, a smuggler, and a gang leader all rolled up into one odious excuse for a human being. Sounds like a deal to me. Yeah, I've got proof. There's always a paper trail when the board's involved. I chanced upon some correspondence between Harlow and his employer. I don't know that it makes a difference. What was I to do with that evidence? Bring it in front of the board? There's no authority in Halcyon willing to take Harlow to task. Huh. You ain't like other board agents I heard about. You got a functioning spine. You want to confront Harlow yourself? Be my guest. I hid my papers before Harlow chased me out. Back in the middle of the base, there's an old vent in a utility corridor. I stashed my evidence in that vent. Board-sanctioned piracy. Harlow went after the ships the board wanted destroyed, capturing anybody the board wanted captured. If we captured you, we'd ransom you. Harlow liked to do the job himself. Gather up the captives on his own ship, vanish for a couple of days. Only that's not what happened. Harlow's been selling his captives off to the board. I don't know where they ended up. Re-education, Tartarus, maybe worse. Take it you've made up your mind. You gonna tell Harlow I'm dead? May as well. I'm never going back to that life again. Here, take the ring. And for what it's worth, my gratitude.
Clyde Harlow, agent of the board. Yeah, that sounds even more insane out loud than it did in my head. I'm not sure what to think right now. You told me to be suspicious, but I never imagined Clyde would stoop to informing for the establishment. Then again, Trask knew he was a dead man. Could have been trying to shift the blame. I can't imagine Clyde working for the board. But we owe it to ourselves to find out. Trask said he stashed the evidence in a vent back at the base. We should go take a look.
What did I tell you? Harlow's down with the man shtick was just an act. No one who yammers that much means half of it. Take a page out of my rule book. Don't trust anyone. Then it's easy. Don't get all mushy on me now. Come on, what did we just learn? People look out for their own interests. It's a fundamental law of nature, same as gravity and conservation of motion. Sure I can. In fact, I bet you I live a lot longer. Well, let me know how that works out for you. Anyway, you really want to tell me you're helping the scientist because you think he'll save the colony? And here I thought I'd seen it all. This galaxy must be bigger than I'd thought. Enough about Harlow, though. Anything else?
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Parvati to send Sam down to the bridge? Destination reached. Scylla. Crew report. Bioka is drunk. Surprise.
got my sights on you.
We need to have a word with Clyde. Looks like Trask was telling the truth. It's all there. Receipts for services rendered, payments, records, ship manifests. Clyde was a pirate for hire, and the board was paying him off. In typical board fashion, they left a trail of receipts behind. Ain't that just ironic? Yeah, you and me both. Clyde owes us some answers. Something about this don't add up. And I mean to find out why.
Something on your mind?
What's the word? So it is. Thus ends Rufus Trask. Once a sensible man, by and by a fool, presently a corpse.
Hope his gas bag's paying us by the hour.
I hope you never have to discover what it is like, Captain. The relief one feels when a mutiny comes to an end.
Trask had some things to say about you. And I've got my own misgivings.
That's a damning accusation. Am I right to presume you have some evidence on hand? Those papers don't prove a thing. We've all done business with the board. They own the whole damn colony. Trask put you up to this. That miserable wretch. He's trying to undermine everything I stand for. You've got a lot of nerve calling me a liar to my face. How should I know? What the hell do I care? Trask was a traitor, and I didn't ask you to understand his motives. I asked you to cross him off.
Clyde, look me in the eye and tell me it's not true. Tell me, and I'll believe you.
Don't talk to me like I'm some common criminal, Felix. You're the one on trial, not me. I don't know what kind of poison that snake dripped in your ear, but as far as I'm concerned, you've been compromised.
They got the drop on him. One down. What was that? There is
Score one for Felix.
Here we go.
That had to hurt. This is definitely not how I imagined it'd end. The void's black, water's wet, and Clyde hated the board. That's something I just knew. Now? I don't know. I don't know what to think. I've just got a lot on my mind right now. This is a lot to take in. I always looked up to Clyde. The thought that he could be an agent of the board is just abhorrent to me. Yeah, he did. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna get over that. I hope so. I don't see this one passing anytime soon. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna be mulling over this whole mess for a couple of days. I don't know what I believe anymore. Maybe it's better that way. Thanks for your time, boss.
We've arrived at the groundbreaker.
All right. She's on her way. How do I look? Oh, my hands have finally stopped shaking. All right, all right. Deep breath. Here I go. Anyhow, so I told him, Dad, I'm a big girl now. I ain't need your help. I can do it on my lonesome.
What did he say to that?
Have at it then. And he handed me his favorite wrench, the one he used for the canner. It was probably half as tall as I was.
He didn't scold you for talking back to him?
Nah, he was never like that. I always thought it was funny when I get indignant about something. Then he'd watch me do whatever it was, make sure I didn't get hurt, but he'd never interfere.
This is Halcyon News. Weird?
Rizzo's purple-berry fudge. A salt-sour
I can take a hint. This is Halcyon News.
apple cider. A hard cider for a hard life.
I'd say anything here falls under the salvage protocols of finders keepers.
System.
That had to hurt! Everyone all right?
Okay, Captain, she's gone. I'm near about vibrating. I'm so excited. So she got here, and, well, she sneezed. She said, "Wow, new soap?" And I was like, "Yeah, rose-ish." Turns out it tickled her nose. Oops. And then she just sort of touched my arm real gentle-like and called the cut of my outfit elegant. I couldn't hear the rest on account of my heart was beating so hard. Then I led her into the kitchen. I think she about cried when she saw the spread. She stood stock still and just said, "Oh, real soft." Oh, and let me tell you, I was sweating. And then she blinked and said, "Is that dustback casserole?" I told her how we got Mr. Raymond to bake it for us, so it was double authentic. Made by a real live monarch person. Well, we talked a bunch over dinner about the things we learned just through messages, stuff we repaired, how I taught her to salvage and she taught me to build. When I brung out the sweetheart cakes, June, she got a little teary, said she had a thing she needed to say. But I stopped her because I wanted to say it first. I never felt so bold, Captain. I told her about how she made me feel. Bold like I acted, strong, smarter and kinder than I am on my lonesome. I listed all the things I liked about her. And then she pulled out a paper and read a speech. She talked about the things she admired about me, like my cleverness and my humor, and how it made her want to be more open. Anyhow, when she wrapped up, I asked her to be my girlfriend. And Captain, she said yes! And then she sneezed again, on account of the flowery soap. We talked about it some. I told her I wasn't sure how it would work, how I've had a bad time of it in the past. She said we'll take it as it comes. Fix things together. Share meals, talk. Maybe she could rub my shoulders when they're sore. I said I might like that. It's all on your account, you know. Imagine if you'd never taken me out of Edgewater. I'd have never met Junlei at all. I don't know nothing about the law or the capital P plan, but you've sure changed my life. So, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna head to my cabin and happy scream into my pillow for like an hour.
We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. If your calculations are even slightly off, you could crash the entire colony ship into Terra too. Or the Sun. The Hope is the Groundbreaker's prettier, sleeker sister. She wandered off and got lost for 70 years, but just recently was found. Also, there are hundreds of thousands of frozen organic life forms hibernating in her hold. Forgetfulness can be an early warning sign of asphyxiation due to loss of pressurization. Are you breathing comfortably, Captain? I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive.